Welcome to the How to Become a Professional Actor podcast with Jade Hassouné, the place where we explore not just the practical steps and the mindset required to build a successful acting career, but also the power of manifestation. Whether you're just starting out and dreaming big or looking to elevate your acting journey to new heights, this podcast is your guide to manifesting your dreams into reality. So let's dive in and let's get going. Hello. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so happy that you're here. All right. So before launching this podcast, I decided to post on my Instagram. I'm launching a podcast. What are your questions? And I received a bunch of questions. So thank you so much for that. And I decided to make the next couple episodes a Q&A where I will answer those questions. Sometimes I'll use one question and make a full episode, and other times I will do what I'm doing now, which is take a bunch of questions and like kind of rapid fire answer based on that. So today's questions is, I wouldn't say like a beginner type questions, but more on the surface level of how deep this can get. And I thought it would be a good place to start. This came from someone called May. So May, thank you so much for your questions. There were 5 questions in that one comment. And so I was like, why don't I do a rapid fire episode where I answer all those questions? So the questions today are: 1, how do you prepare for casting? 2, do you necessarily have to do theater? 3, how can you improve your acting skills to succeed in castings? 4, how can you make a good introduction video? 5, what would you say to young people who want to get into acting? Amazing. Let's dive right in, starting with question number 1. How do you prepare for casting? Okay, so I will share what I do and what I think is like the best way to go about it, so that once you get into the mode of like, I'm recording my audition or I'm in the room doing my audition, you will be at your best. Okay. Something I learned real early in my acting journey, I guess when I was in theater school, and we'll get to that because that's one of the questions, is one of my teachers used to say, preparation is the best thing. Preparation. And his reason for saying that is that once you're in the moment of delivering your audition, you have so much stress, right? I don't want to scare anybody, but like, it is stressful. Obviously, you want to do a good job, you care about it, you want to book the job. And so you will be nervous. That's just normal and natural. And it's not something that you should take as like, oh, I'm doing it wrong, because you will be nervous even if you're prepared. And he used to say, and I think that's true, you lose about 70% of your preparation once you're in the thick of it, once you're in the moment. So the best thing you can do to be prepared is to prepare, right? But like really prepare. And this is how I do it. First of all, you get the script from your agent, you get a casting call and tell you what they would like you to prepare when you show up. First things first, before we get into how am I going to feel the emotions of this story, how I'm going to tell this story, etc., you need to make your brain, which is like a machine, know what you are saying. Like, as basic as that is, it's just about learning the words by heart in an automatic way. Okay. So you don't always need to know everything by heart, like memorizing it, because sometimes some people don't even memorize, they just go with their scripts, and we'll get into that in a different episode because everybody has different ways of doing it. I'm sharing my way of doing it, and what I thought helps me the most is to drop everything, take a paper, look at what the lines are, what is my character saying, and I just transcribe literally the page, the script, onto another page. I take a pen, I do it with my hands, I take a blank sheet of paper, and I copy the script. What this does is that it helps your subconscious mind do the work for you. So it starts to memorize it. So writing it down slowly, breathing, not trying to figure out how you're going to play the character, but just like mechanically learning the words. What am I saying? What is happening? And so I transcribe it. And I've been doing this for so many years now that usually it only takes me um, one time. I write it down one time, and usually I can know what the words are. I have that memory. I have um, that skill now. It's a skill that you develop. And I think that will help you to gain so much control over those nerves once you get to the room, because if the first thing you do is very mechanical and it doesn't like mix in how you're going to play it and everything, you just get to know what is going on. You get the structure, you know the words, and then we'll get into what happens after that. So first, learn everything in a mechanical way. Transcribe the lines. You could do it like write your lines like 3 times. You can write it over and over and over just so that you memorize. And there's tons of ways you can do that. Obviously, reread it as many times as you can. Repeat it to yourself. There's a lot of apps you can find that lets you record everyone's lines and even your own lines, and then makes you practice in different ways where it like tells you your line, then gives you space for you to repeat it, then gives you the other person's line, etc., etc. Okay. So what I find really helps me is, you know, usually all your neural pathways and all the rebuilding in your body happens when you're sleeping. So if I can get ideally 2 nights of sleep, I will wake up the third day and know exactly what I'm saying without having to search for the line, right? Because when you get into the room and you're finally auditioning, that's not the time to look for what you're trying to say. At that point, you need to know so much what you're saying that you're able to live it. So when we talk, we don't think about what we're going to say. We just say it. We just go and say it because there's a lot of inner dialogue that goes on. There's an inner world going on. And that's the goal here. We want to know what the character is saying and what we want to show, what we want to live, because you don't even want to show it, but what you want to happen within your body is you want it to be the internal journey that gets you to the point of saying the line, right? What are the thoughts that get you to say those words? So that's what we're doing. This is what acting is. It's the inner world that leads you to say the things you're saying. It's not the things you're saying necessarily, it's what's behind it. Okay, so my advice, the best way to practice, to prepare, is to memorize that as soon as possible. As soon as you get it, drop everything and just write it down, read it, learn the words in a mechanical way. And then once you know them, then start to build the inner world of the character. There's something that one of my biggest mentors, who was one of Kate Blanchett's coaches, Lindy Davies, taught me, which was dropping in. You take the line as it is, you drop it into your consciousness, it creates ripple effects, and that ripple effect is the inner world. It's the pathway to leads you to build that inner world that gets you to say the next line and get to the next part in the story. So, to recap, prepare, 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 rewrite, say it a million times, know it automatically, and then slowly you will have the space to bring in the inner world and you will be able to make it live through you. I hope that made sense. I'm going to move on to question number 2. Do you necessarily have to do theater? The short answer is no, you don't. I've known tons of actors who have amazing careers who have never done theater. They're TV actors and they naturally have a talent for it. It's true that theater is the source, right, of acting. And so it is always a great way to start. it has so much embodying exercises, because theater is not just getting up there and saying stuff. It's the body, it's the breath, it's the movement, it's the creative expression. There's so much in building a character, and acting is very different for film and for theater. And so this is where you need to find the nuance, and you need to sort of channel that in a different way for the camera, because the camera can really perceive what's going on in your eyes, inside of yourself. So, theater is really big and out there. You're trying to reach the audience, you're trying to like express outwardly, and film is very inwardly, so it really catches. So if you're trying to like do acting for the TV, and you're really expressive with your face and bringing it out there, it looks off, it looks too much. So the skill here would be to find that nuance, right? And often, yes, theater brings you a lot of the the foundation understanding of acting and building that skill. Um, but then you have to also have the skill of translating that for the camera, which is a different thing. So, do you necessarily have to do theater in order to have a great career in film and TV? No, absolutely not. Um, but it really helps to discover who you are, to discover your body, to discover your instrument, because your body is your instrument, and your emotions get to express through your body and through your instrument. And theater has a lot of tools to help you to discover those parts of yourself and how to bring those emotions out of yourself, right? And to let them flow through you, really, because we are kind of like channels of communication, channels of expression. And so oftentimes what theater did for me is that it taught me how to let the story flow through me, right? And to use my imagination to create, and to step out of myself and let the story take over and flow through me. So theater is an amazing base, and I would suggest people to go there if they really want to do theater as well, obviously. But it's not necessary. You could go straight into TV and film acting, and some people don't even have training, and they just naturally know um, how to do that, or they don't even try. They just have it, right? And but it can't be like it can be learned. Okay, so it can be built. Um, and theater is an amazing way to do that. It's also so fun, and there's something so special about performing live, and the magic of theater, which only happens in the moment, you can't replace that. And being on set for TV, even though when they call action and there's that focus energy, it's very amazing to feel as well. But having an audience there, a live audience reflecting that back to you, it creates this energy that is just incredible. So I suggest it, um, but it's not necessary, which was the question. All right, question number 3. How can you improve your acting skills to succeed in castings? Well, it kind of ties into the first 2 questions. Obviously, you build your skills by practicing, right? And when you're in an environment of being in a class and being in a program where you get to discover yourself, there's no real pressure to kind of get it right, even though we can get into that in other episodes. I was so hard on myself because I really wanted to do well. That's a different conversation, but there's no pressure of getting it right because you're trying to book a role, right? You're in the exploration phase. You've got a safe space to be able to do that. You get to workshop yourself, your skills, the scenes that you're working on, to really get to a deeper place and uncover all the things that you could uncover with a role. And the skills, yes, they do get developed as you try and fail and try cringy things and and discover that, wow, I really can access those parts of myself, and all of that is really amazing in having a course or a space where you get to do that, right? So How can you improve your acting skills is by taking acting classes, really, or practicing with your friends, with yourself. Like, even though, yes, I went to, I trained in acting, I also played like so much with my brother when we were kids. We made so many movies and homemade movies and, you know, shows and things like that. And all of that is practice. So I think having fun, going deep, and obviously, yes, going and taking classes is absolutely the way to develop your acting skills, because you also remove a lot of the blocks that you have within yourself. I always told people, this is how you discover who you are. Everybody should do theater because you get to see where you're blocking yourself from being yourself, where you're stopping yourself from expressing your true self. Because in society, we have so many masks that we put on. And acting is not about putting on a mask, which is what a lot of people think. It's about removing the masks so you can really show who you truly are. It's showing your true self. It's being that vulnerable, naked person that people want to see. They want to connect with that. So acting is not about lying. It's not about lying, and it's not about putting on a mask. It's about the opposite. It's about being truthful. And to be able to do that, you have to remove a lot of layers. And acting class, honestly, is absolutely how you do that. Because those layers of blockages prevent you from going deeper and expressing feelings that you need to be a different person, or channel a story and experience love and grief and sadness and all of those things that humans experience. And if you're in your own life, you don't let yourself go there, then it won't be authentic. And we want to be authentic in acting. Love that answer. Okay. Question number 4. How can you make a good introduction video? What is an introduction video? I'm assuming that you are saying like, hi, my name is Jade Hassouné. I'm 5'7", and I'm with Glen Talent Management, and I live in Montreal, and I'm auditioning for blah, 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 right? Honestly, for me, this has been like one of the the thing I kind of hate the most in this whole business is doing those videos, because it's super awkward. But from what I've learned, you don't have to think about it too much. Like, I remember one of my biggest roles I booked in Heartland playing Prince Ahmed is I got that role. And I remember being in the audition. I was there in person and doing my audition, and the scenes were, I think I did a good job. Obviously, I got the role. But I remember at the end, they were like, okay, we're going to do a slate. This is what it's called. It's called a slate. For those of you who don't know, the introduction video is a slate. And usually you just say your name, your height, the city that you're in, and sometimes they have other questions that they want you to answer. And I've always felt so awkward about that. And I remember doing the slate at the end and being like, hi, I'm Jade Hassouné, and I'm auditioning for Ahmed and blah, blah, blah. And I remember leaving the room and just being like, oh my God, I'm not going to get this part. They're going to see this introduction video, this slate, and they're just going to say, no, it's not him, because I got it wrong. And I felt so hard on myself and down on myself for that thing that doesn't even matter. But I don't know. I felt like they wouldn't even watch my acting because that they would like make their decision off the bat from that video. And maybe that's true sometimes. Maybe they see you talking and they say, that's not our guy, that's not our person. But it's not always the truth, because sometimes it's about the work and what you can do, and other times it's about who you are and who they want to cast, right? So it's interesting fine line. Some people tell you to say your introduction video, your slate, as the character so that you're already in the energy of it, and others say just say your thing, right? So I try to do a bit of both mixed together. So if the character is very like dark and chill and whatever, even though my personality is like, hi, I'm Jada, I try to kind of blend the two, because I am a very like friendly, open person and very smiley person, but that's not necessarily how I will play the character. And so I now make it super simple. I just like stand there, I say, Jade Hassouné, 5'7". That's it. That's what I do. Some people say, "Hi, I'm Jade Hassouné. Hi, I'm Jade Hassouné, and I'm currently living in the city of Montreal, and I will be auditioning for the role of, and my agent is blah blah." Blah." People doing it all kinds of ways. And I had a whole period where I just did not send a slate, and then people started to send, If we don't have a slate, we will not consider the actor." And. So now I make it super simple. I try to have the essence, a bit of the character, a bit of my friendliness and my openness, and the confidence that I'm gonna be good for this part, and I'm worthy of it. And I'm Jade Hassouné, and I'm 5'7". Like that's it. And the last question of the day: what would you say to young people who want to get into acting? I would say do it, do it, do it, do it, and I would also say go to school for it. If you're really committed, go get the skills, learn about yourself, take the classes, join the after school theater troops, take the community theater classes, then join a professional acting program that is 3 years. Some of them are 4 years, and go build your skills, build your confidence, because this is really about knowing who you are, building your self-trust and your confidence that you can face this really intense pressure, the unknown, the unexpected, the quickness of it. You have 2 days to prepare this, and not really knowing what you're trying to do and how you would eventually do it, but you just kind of give them the best you can, the piece of you that you have at that moment. And you have to know who you are to succeed in this business. You have to have some really solid self-trust and confidence. And sometimes you don't have it in your regular life. You're still, I'm a very kind of awkward person, even though I'm very social, but I've built that skill. I was not always this way. And I still feel kind of awkward in certain social situations, but I'm so confident in my acting and in my talent and in my determination that when I do acting, when I get to be other people, all of my self-consciousness goes away. And I feel so powerful, and I feel so myself being someone else. Like, it's so wild. But a lot of actors are very, very insecure, awkward, socially awkward people. And they find confidence in the act of acting when they kind of leave their bodies and get to be someone else. And that is the beauty of it, is that you become confident in that way. And then it builds, it ripples effect into your life. And I think that acting school is only really for discovering yourself and getting to know yourself and getting to trust yourself, and to trust that your life experience has value. And that's what people want to see when they cast you in projects. So yes, I would absolutely say this, because it really made me become myself, become who I am, discover so many things, that I was gay, that I had what it took. Like, that's what it does. And so if someone can start very young, go for it. I started late, like, because I went to theater school when I was 17 and graduated when I was 20. And that's considered late sometimes, but that's a limiting belief that I talk about in episode 1 that we have to break, because it's not even true. You can start at 50 and have an amazing career. It's all about how you see yourself and about your abundance mindset, your growth mindset, instead of a lack mentality that it's too late, I'm too old. That's false. That's not true. Some people started at 40. Morgan Freeman started at 40 years old and has had an incredible career, and so many other people. So just to say, I felt like I was late at that age, right? But it's not even true. And I'm just starting. I'm just starting to really be confident in the man that I am. And I know that in my 40s, I will be at my peak and at the start of my peak. So we've got so much time. And anyway, I went off, but that's what I would say to young people. I would say go to acting school and learn about yourself, and know that who you are is right. You don't have to become someone else. You are already the person that is going to get this. You're the person that they are looking forward to put in your movies. So that's it for me today. I love you so much. I'm so proud I did this in 25 minutes. Talk to you soon. Hey, before you go, do you want to receive a free ebook called How to Become a Professional Actor 5 Steps to Living the Life of Your Dreams, where I walk you step by step to getting started today? It is infused with so much inspiration. I've got amazing feedback from this book, and I cry every time I read it. I wrote it with such inspiration, and all you got to do is give me a review on this podcast. It'll help so much. And screenshot the review and email me at theothersideofyourdreamlife@gmail.com. And I will send you the free ebook so that you can get started today and waste zero time and get your acting career going or lifted to a whole new level. All right. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next episode.